Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. I am your lactation consultant, Dianne, and I have been in the lactation world for about 20 years. So I will be your guide on the lactation journey. And I have 3 kiddos. I have Nathan, who's 25, and Jess and Brandon, who are my twins that are 23.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder, and I have a social work background. And I am the mother of 2 kids, Jack, who is 14, and Exley, who is 11. And they are both breastfed very long into toddlerhood and I guess small childhood, you would say. Jack was 6.5 and Exley was 5. Yeah, that's all. And today's episode is brought to you by Simple Wishes.
Dun, da, da.
Simple Wishes Seamless Collection was designed to grow, recover, and adapt with you through every stage of motherhood. And today's episode is also brought to you by Original Sprout.
Yay! They're back.
Yes, they're back. And we actually do find out from companies sometimes about like how their campaigns did with our podcast. You'd think that we would always know, but sometimes we don't. But with Original Sprout, they have been very successful with you guys, really like them. So I am really thrilled about that because I also love them.
I do too. Yeah. They're awesome. And if you haven't tried them yet, you definitely have to try them this time around.
You do, because they're great. And I am actually in the middle of, Exley has got the most awful, I don't know, eczema, like winter skin issue. I don't know, but I'm really excited to use our very own discount code and get a bunch of stuff to see if this is going to help. It's terrible. So Original Sprout started as one mother's solution to her daughter's sensitive skin, and it's now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free favorites, soft enough for babies and effective for moms. We love that too, because just the whole family just uses it.
Yeah.
But I would also like to tell you about Patreon, because Patreon has gone through a lot of construction, and we've brought back our Revolution Parenting podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very excited about that. This is the podcast that was created to bring kinder and more compassionate adults into the world. We believe that this starts at home with how we parent our children. We talk about child development, discipline, boundaries, attachment parenting, and so much more. The only place to access this podcast, though, is on our Patreon. This is not a podcast on your podcast app. This is a Patreon podcast. And we have 2 tiers, and each tier has cool benefits, including a goodie bag of thank you for nursing in public cards and podcast stickers that are sent to your home every month. And you can head to the top link in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and pick a tier that looks good to you. And we are still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet, like on Spotify or iTunes or whatever you're listening on. Leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it along with your address to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll send you one of those goodie bags of thank you for nursing in public cards and podcast stickers. If you can't leave a review, then share the podcast on your social media with your friends and take a screenshot of that, and we'll do the same. And I am still hustling for breastfeeding photos. A few of you have sent some in, and I really appreciate it. If you've got breastfeeding photos and you want to share them with me so that I can share them onto social media, that would be great. You can send a little something about yourself if you want. If not, no pressure. Please send that over to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And I think that Dianne has our review of the week now.
I do. From somebody who's very ambitious. I am training to become a labor doula, postpartum doula, and certified lactation support and educator.
Ooh.
And this podcast is so great for supplementing my lactation training. I do want to eventually become a nurse, midwife, and an IBCLC. I'm currently in nursing school and have so much education ahead of me. My friend of 10 years just had her first baby, so I got to be there as her doula, and her biggest worry, even before the baby came, was breastfeeding. This podcast has helped me feel more confident and comfortable helping her navigate this time, even as it's been rocky with a bad latch, easily fixed with untucking the baby's bottom lip and giving guidance about the angle of the nipple into the baby's mouth. And they are recommending formula due to jaundice, and I'm helping give tips to help maintain her supply and giving her encouragement to not give up on breastfeeding. Thank you for doing what you do. You are helping so many people. My girl is ambitious.
Yeah, no, that's good. Please do it. Just do it. And it doesn't sound like she has children.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds like because she didn't. Yeah, she just didn't speak to that. And that's cool.
Very.
Get all of that education, get all of that done so you can have that all lined up before you start your own family. And then you'll have great support around you too.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for helping your friend. That's such a great thing to do.
And thanks for going into that field. We need it. We need somebody out there on the front lines.
Oh my God, we do.
Taking
we need all the people. Taking the bullets. We need all the people.
Yeah.
You're doing awesome things. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes. Today we're going to talk about, well, this came from a listener, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, it did. Let me read that. I was all ready with my links. I forgot to, there was actually two.
Oh, was there?
Because there was one that I sent to you. And then I swear to God, that night, somebody sent me another message or email or something. Let's see if I can find any of them. Yeah. Okay. Here was the email, I think, that came later. It says, "My name is Krista and I found your podcast about a month ago. I absolutely love it. My son is 22 months old and I'm somewhere in my second trimester of pregnancy. This fall, I started having breastfeeding aversion, and we very quickly went from 3 nursing sessions down to 1. I had a lot of really big feelings on it because I didn't want to be done since my son wanted to keep going. Anyway, we've been nursing about once a day or every few days the past weeks. I had dreams of possibly tandem nursing, but maybe my son is slowly deciding he's done with boobies. Wondering what your thoughts are on this and if I should be doing anything different." So that's our first one. We should definitely talk about nursing aversion.
Yeah.
And the second one is from Rebecca. Oh, yeah, I love this one. She says, "Longtime listener, third time caller." She says, my son is 20 months old, and not only is he still a strong breastfeeder, he is not motivated to eat solids. He will eat and even enjoy some things, and the amount he eats has increased over time, but we still nurse on demand, and he nurses all the time. Multiple times in the morning, the evening, the weekends, and he wakes up to nurse multiple times each night. Though he also refuses a bottle at daycare of any milk, breast, cow, soy, Ripple, etc. So he comes home thirsty. Don't worry, he does eat some food at daycare, just not a lot. On the one hand, he's basically stayed true to his growth curve, so I'm not worried about calories. I also trust that he will not still be breastfeeding when he's 16. But people are always asking me how long I'll do it. And his pediatrician is concerned about how much he eats and had me talk to a nutritionist. A few times on the podcast, I've heard y'all encourage drinking as much breast milk as possible, even into toddlerhood. In a recent episode, you were talking about solid starts and that they said eat first, drink later. And Abby said she thinks the opposite. I feel like we're an extreme version of that, or maybe not, but my friends don't have that experience. I am starting to get nervous, even though I do believe, at least in my head, that he will be okay. Any chance you could help me with my fears? Thank you. I love you guys so much, and I love your podcast. I still listen, even though my son is a great breastfeeder, because I find all of this fascinating. You guys are fun. I should say I love nursing my son so much. I love our time together and the intimacy and the joy it brings. There's no pressure from me personally to stop. Okay, let's start.
So much happening there.
I know. Let's start unpacking all of this. So first of all, as far as There is no first of all. I've got 8 things in my head. So nursing, so this is an episode about nursing toddlers, and is an episode where we won't focus so much on breastfeeding while pregnant because there is so much other stuff there. Mm-hmm. But nursing a toddler, whether you are pregnant or not, can really be a time where you bring on nursing aversion. And this is hormonal. We actually have episodes on this a lot, and have episodes with Melissa Mourns, who is an Australian researcher who's done a lot of stuff, written stuff on nursing aversion, and it's something that a lot of people experience, and it's not your fault. You're not doing something wrong. It's not like there's something you can do to make it stop. It's just your hormones. And it's also extremely awful. It is awful. I experienced it. It's terrible. Like you want to smash your head through a wall. You feel like only when they're latched, you can feel like pangs of anxiety, pangs of like sexual feelings, which is awful. Like it just comes with like disgust. Skin, like spiders crawling on your skin, like creepy crawlies. And just like the overwhelming urge to just like throw your child across the room. No one has done that. I'm just saying, it's like all you want to do is for them to unlatch. And as soon as they unlatch, it's gone. And it's just the most awful thing. So I don't have like advice on how to handle it. I mean, I should say I don't have advice on how to get rid of it, because it's just a thing that happens. It happened in my pregnancy with my second, and pretty much went on for the rest of our breastfeeding time. However, really only with my oldest, which then is, what is the deal with that? I don't know. We can read into it, or we can just leave it at that. I don't know. Like, is it your body? Like, get that older one off. We need the younger one. We need to, but I don't know, because not everybody experiences it. So with nursing aversion, it's just, try to be rested. Try to have something that you're doing while you're breastfeeding, whether it's like pinching yourself or reading comments online. Go in your neighborhood group and read comments. I'm sure everyone's neighborhood group is filled with like people being nasty to each other, because mine sure is. And sometimes it's just like, you're like watching it. It's entertaining. That is pretty much all I can say. Boundaries around, if you're having it with like your toddler or whatever, this is a good time to start boundaries, and maybe a good time to just segue right into a conversation about boundaries, because with toddler nursing, this is a time where you can really start to work on that. If you want to continue breastfeeding, you can start working on boundaries to help your breastfeeding relationship last longer, because a lot of times, especially if you're feeling breastfeeding aversion, or you're like, oh my God, this has gone on forever. When are we ever going to, move on from this? Or like Rebecca, like the toddler's nursing like all the time. We'll get into the nutrition thing that she was asking about. But if they're nursing a lot and you're just like, oh my God, this is too much. Toddlers are able to start understanding some boundaries. Babies don't know what you're talking about. You cannot set breastfeeding boundaries with a 6-month-old baby. But you have like a 1.5, 2, 3-year-old, definitely. You can start to work on shortening your breastfeeding sessions. You can start working on eliminating some of them. If, you just want to be breastfeeding less, And there are like literally concrete ways to do that I can run through. Maybe we should just take a break first before I get into that.
Before you get into the concrete.
Should we?
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We get to hear about our fun new sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Original Sprout, a brand that began with a mother's love for her child back in 2003 when the founder couldn't find a hair care product gentle enough for her own daughter's sensitive skin. She created one herself, bringing the same care and intention we all use when choosing products for our kids. They use gentle ingredients with no harsh sulfates, parabens, or phthalates. Their formulas are also made without essential oils like tea tree or lavender, which some families choose to avoid during sensitive stages like postpartum and breastfeeding. What started out as one mother's solution is now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free products, soft enough for babies and effective for moms. And they have body washes, shampoo, conditioner. They have the tahini line where they have this like hair oil that is like my favorite thing in the whole world. And you can check out their entire line at originalsprout.com. And be sure to use code BADASS26 for 25% off of your order. So go get your stuff and check them out because you will surely love them. And today's episode is also brought to you by Simple Wishes. Simple Wishes' seamless collection was designed to grow, recover, and adapt with you through every stage of motherhood, rather than housing drawers full of barely worn bras that no longer fit your body or lifestyle. This convertible design gives you the best of both worlds. Nursing ready with an easy drop cup when you need it, to a beautifully streamlined with no visible plastic nursing clips when you don't. The magic is in the interchangeable straps. Whether your breastfeeding journey lasts 2 hours, 2 days, 2 years, or more, this one-of-a-kind bra supports your choice 100%. Its one-of-a-kind patented design is Oikotex certified. It's wire-free with 4-way stretch fabric and light padding for a smooth look. Choose from fixed or removable padding options because we all have strong opinions about that. One reviewer wrote, "I love how I feel supported and contained compared to other bras. The clasp is easy, the bra washes nicely, it looks good under clothing, and provides a nice shape. Once this journey is done, I can see myself converting it to an everyday bra. Well done, and thank you, Simple Wishes. Signed, an exhausted mom that didn't realize what a difference the right bra can make." SimpleWishes.com. Head there, SimpleWishes.com, and use code BADASS for 50% off of your order. Our discount codes are like rocking today.
I know. My gosh.
All of the sponsors and the promo codes can be found in our show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from. You can also head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. Check out our sponsor page. See if you can give them any of your business because they make this podcast possible. And scroll down, enter your email address, and we will send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And you can also check out all of our other episodes, our favorite resources, and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne. All right, boundaries. Here's a few things that you can try. And we're running out of time because I have a lot more to say. Okay, so you can start to say, like, we're going to pick a nursing time during the day that's maybe not the most important, not the one like right when you wake up or the one going to sleep, maybe one in the afternoon. Tell your child, like, okay, we're gonna nurse or breastfeed, whatever you call it in your house, for the ABCs. And then you sing the ABCs and then you say, okay, all done for now. Also, if there's one that you're trying to eliminate and you have like a specific, routine, mess with that routine. Don't sit down in the chair. Actually, if you have a nursing setup, mess it all up. Just rearrange it, get rid of it. If you have a baby, create a new one, but just remove the one with the toddler and the one that you use for the afternoon. Start experimenting with new snacks. And also, they might come with really big feelings, and you're going to start experiencing saying no to your child, which for some reason, when it comes to breastfeeding, is so much more dramatic and upsetting than when you're like telling them not to touch the stove. You're like, no, when you mean it. But when you're like, no, we're not, you can say like, nurses are asleep, or, right now they will get upset, and then we're so upset too. And it's, I mean, like, you've given them like unlimited access to breastfeeding for years, probably. And now you're saying no, and it's really hard. So now is a time where you're going to start being able to practice as well with your own feelings that come with telling your toddler no. As far as nutrition goes, let's talk about that. So we have a lot of toddlers that aren't interested in solid foods. And I had one as well. My very first child, Jack, he nursed all the time. As much as Rebecca was telling us that her child nurses like multiple times a day, multiple times at night, not very interested in foods, certainly not any other kind of liquid, maybe some water sometimes, but not interested. And, he's also got the personality for it. He's very sensitive. He's got, sensitive feelings. He's got sensitive skin. He's got a sensitive mouth. He's just all kinds of everything. And that was one of the things. It was just a really long process to him learning how to eat solids. And that's what it is. It's a process of them learning how to eat it and get used to it. That's all it is. They're not going to starve. They're not going to, they're not going to be malnourished. And breast milk is so nutrient dense that it is designed to be used beyond infancy. I mean, we have, the WHO, the World Health Organization, the American Academy of Pediatrics finally got on board saying that babies should be breastfed for 2 years or beyond. And this is a big deal. Like, they wouldn't be saying this because you go to some doctor's appointments and they're like, well, after 6 months, your breast milk really doesn't have the nutrients that they need. You have to introduce cow's milk, or you have to use formula, or you have to use toddler formula. That is not true. And it's really a shame that doctors say this, because that is not what their governing body says. The Academy of Pediatrics says 2 years, not 6 months it turns to water. That's just a lie. That's back from when they were trying to get formula in the mouths of everybody. So the World Health Organization has a nice little couple of paragraphs here where they talk about breastfeeding beyond infancy. And health benefits of breastfeeding in children include protection from infections, reduced hospital admissions, and reduced risk of sudden infant death syndrome. Children who are breastfed are also likely to have reduced risk of obesity. And then there's human milk in the second postpartum year was identified as having higher concentrations of total protein, lactoferrin, lysozyme, and immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin A. Am I saying that right? Immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin. Okay. The natural immunological properties of breast milk increase as the young child encounters further pathogens in their environment. People who breastfed longer than 12 months have less incidence of diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, and cardiovascular disease than those who do not. That's you. Mm-hmm. It's good for you too. For every 12 months of breastfeeding, the risk of breast cancer is reduced in women by 4.3%, while women who breastfeed for 6 to 12 months have a 28% risk of developing ovarian cancer. Breastfeeding can also benefit maternal mental health. And, there's another paragraph here goes on about how an estimated 823,000 children's lives could be saved each year in low and middle income countries if breastfeeding practices were at optimal levels. I mean, come on. This is the World Health Organization telling us all of these research, evidence-based things about breastfeeding beyond infancy. And they're important.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got I have another link here that I like, and it is actually from a blog that I wrote, because that's how I am. I'm gonna quote myself. No, but back when I was nursing and tandem nursing these toddlers at the height of my blog, when I was blogging all the time, and my head was so far into this and I wrote everything down. I wrote it all down in blogs. And I was reading this yesterday and I was like, oh my God, yeah. So when you're nursing a toddler, okay, so here's also the big thing about breastfeeding. Of course, the breast milk is super important. And as we know, the breast milk changes, and it is specifically designed for your toddler and what your toddler is doing. And we also like to say breastfeeding is so much more than food, because even as how important that is, it's just a piece of it. You are at this point, or at the entire breastfeeding journey, you are supporting their emotional, social, psychological development. And also, it's going to help you get through your day. It really is. Like, if your child falls down and starts crying, there is nothing more comforting than nursing. And before anybody says, well, they need to learn to self-soothe, they are learning to self-soothe by breastfeeding. That is what they're doing. They are learning to self-soothe by nursing when they're upset. Also, and when your child falls down, now you're nursing and they're calming down and they're regulating their emotions and their body, and they're starting to take deep breaths and they're calming down. You can squirt some breast milk right onto that wound.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, when they stopped breastfeeding and they would fall down and there would be a wound, there was a time where I was like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
I was like, wait. Oh, wait, soap and water. Okay. I have to transition to this.
So true.
Also, when your child is a toddler, they're experimenting with going off into the world, right? They're starting to run a little bit farther away from you at the playground. They're starting to explore things a little bit farther away from you. And they're coming back and they're checking in with you, nursing maybe for a couple of minutes, regulating their body from, that excitement, how it felt to be away from you. And they're resetting and they're ready to go again. It's like you can see children developing confidence and attachment and independence through this process. They're checking in with you, they're regulating, they're nursing, and then they're off. And then they come back and check in again. This is what they're doing. They're developing this sense of independence. We have this idea in our culture that if we push them off really early, that they'll develop independence, when it's actually the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
We have to feed into and nurture that dependence, and that will help them develop independence. Also, when you have a sick toddler, it's really nice to be able to breastfeed because it comforts them. And you can still squirt that breast milk up their nose and help clear out the snot.
Yeah.
It also helps when everyone is frazzled, you're having a bad day, you're forgetting stuff, maybe you're out and about, you forgot to bring snacks, because, it's a transition. Now it's very automatic for me to be like, oh God, food. I need to bring food when we leave. But You're not necessarily thinking about that when you have a new child. You're just, everything's new. So being able to have that, you just have the snacks with you. You don't even have to bring them. They're attached to you. Bonding time, obviously, comforting for everyone. Nursing to sleep is very much encouraged, at least by us, in toddlerhood. Again, you're not creating a bad habit. You are helping them learn to self-soothe, to go to sleep. It's a good thing. And, really, if you're out there and you're breastfeeding a toddler, you are showing the world that this is normal. And that helps everyone. Everyone that comes after you. You help normalize it. And, all right, now you talk. What am I forgetting?
No, you're pegging all the things. I mean, this is like, there's so much to breastfeeding a toddler.
It really is.
It's so beneficial for all the reasons that you're listing, and people just don't see that. Like the public in general, they just don't realize it. And they're like, well, when are you going to stop breastfeeding? And why are you still breastfeeding? And, but they don't see the benefits that there are for this child and for you.
Yeah.
So many things.
And to speak to every child is different. You might have a 2-year-old that nurses like Jack did all the time, just all the time. And you might have another 2-year-old that just nurses a little bit. Mm-hmm. So every child is totally different. And there's not really a way that you can't change who they are. You can't make them nurse more. I mean, you can make them nurse less. And if you want to, go ahead and work on those boundaries. But if you have a kid who's still nursing and not really eating solids, that's just who they are. Because Rebecca talks about how, her friends it's not really happening with her friends. And that's just because everyone's different.
Mm-hmm. One thing I would like to say about that is our idea of a lot of solids and a baby's idea of a lot of solids are two different things. Yeah. Like that baby might be taking in way more than you realize, and they're taking in enough for them. Like a serving portion for a 2-year-old is not going to be the same thing as a serving portion for us.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep in mind that he's probably doing a lot better than you realize.
Right. And especially if they're eating and you're offering it like a few times a day, it's getting in there. It is, enough for what they need is getting in there. And as far as as well with, what was her name? Was it Krista?
Yeah, it was Kristen.
Oh, Kristen or Krista? Not that, no, it does matter. Just because, it's nice to know people's names. Krista. She talked about her child. She has nursing aversion and she's pregnant and she's worried. She wanted a tandem nurse and she's worried that her child is nursing less. So remember too, when you're pregnant, that your milk supply is going to pretty much go away. And there's nothing you can do about that. It's just your body making colostrum for the new baby. We need to just do a whole episode on breastfeeding when pregnant. Mm-hmm. But I just want to say that they might just be nursing less because there's less there right now. This is what happened with Jack. Jack was nursing less, I think, just because there wasn't really much there. Nursing a little bit. But when the milk came back in, he was there full time again. Much too much, in my opinion. So it could just be that, that they go through different phases. That's the other thing about toddler nursing is that, you might think like, oh, they're starting to nurse less, and then a few months later, they're nursing a lot again. And your child will wean eventually. But they could be like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So if you don't want that, that's okay. You can just kind of work those boundaries like we talked about. And we have episodes that are completely on boundaries. You can just work those until breastfeeding is pretty much eliminated. That'll work. But they will wean. They will wean. You know, that's what Rebecca said. I know he won't breastfeed till he's 16, and he won't. And that's all. So just let us know if you have any questions or you have any toddler breastfeeding photos. Would love to share those too.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.